And welcome back to the Daily Wrap. Well, we break news here all the time at Newsmax, and particularly the Daily Wrap. And now we have an exclusive. Rick Ungar knows the answer that many Republicans don't even know at this point. How the GOP will address the little Obamacare "you have a solution" problem.
Look, if the court rules for the plaintiff, meaning against the government, and destroys the subsidies, what you can expect is a bill that will suggest that anybody currently getting Obamacare subsidies will continue to get them through 2017. In other words, they'll kick the can down the road past the election, but they will not make the subsidies available to anybody new coming into the program. That's what you can expect to take place if the plaintiffs win.
Okay. And will it be a big 2016
issue? No, it won't.
No, it won't. Okay.
No. We're all burnt out on it, I think.
Yeah, you might be right about that. Anyway, it's now potluck time. This is part of the show. We go around the table, share our favorite stories of the day, and if you're wearing Vikings purple,
purple.
Yes, Heather, you get to go first.
There was a breakthrough study in the New England Journal of Medicine last week that I was surprised didn't get more press. It was about sexual assault on campuses, and a study where they did with 3 different universities in Canada called a sexual abuse resistance program, where they taught the girls, they took a control group, and then they took a group when they taught these women how to assess risk of sexual abuse, how to fight back verbally and physically. After they had gone through this training, the women who had taken the courses were half as likely to be victims of rape and 1/3 as likely to be victims of attempted rape. It is clearly, when we talk about this issue, what so far is the most promising solution to a very complicated issue. It has some actual, true, real results printed in a very well-known peer-reviewed journal. Yet, despite all of this, when you read articles about this, some of the feminists are objecting to this particular thing. And what they're saying is, you're putting the burden on the victims. I take issue with that. I think that you are empowering the victims. And I think that so many people today want to say, oh, poor victims, without giving them any sort of solution. We do find sometimes when you empower victims, it works. We see it with concealed carry. The more permits you give to people with concealed carry, murders go down. Now we've seen it here, where if you teach women how to handle themselves, they're less likely to become victims of rape or attempted rape. I think those women, there's one woman who was quoted in the New York Times article who is from the White House task force who said, well, they'll just go find other victims. Not if we take away all of these women so that now they become empowered and they're no longer victims, and then you won't have this problem anymore. It was frustrating to me to see the response to such an awesome study was, rather than accept it and say, let's have every one of our young girls go through this type of training, to say, oh no, but then we're just not helping with the perpetrators. That can come. We can have a multifaceted approach, but this should not be looked down upon because it helps the victims.
Is there a political correctness aspect to all of this?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, you know, the White House task force focuses more on the perpetrator. Right. The majority of liberals seem to focus more on the perpetrator. I'm not saying that you can't focus on the perpetrator, but that doesn't seem to work. Focusing on the victim does work. And in the meantime, you're teaching women to be confident, to learn that it's oftentimes your friends who might be doing this, and that you can't cry to get away, but you have to learn how to defend yourself physically and verbally. I think it's a great program that every university should look into.
Tucker?
It's keeping people from keeping women from becoming victims.
Right.
It's proactive. I cannot understand
how can anybody complain about this?
I don't understand.
It's common sense.
Yep, I agree.
In fact, men and women should be getting training like this, because men can be attacked just as women are.
That's right.
So yeah, it makes perfect sense.
I'm with you. I don't even understand the logic of this at all. And I can't fathom that there's some sort of political correctness position.
Yeah, I mean, people say, oh, it's a good program, but they're putting the burden on the victims, and that's a problem, and we should be focused on the perpetrator. That's right. And if you take away all the victims, then there's no problem.
Okay. Well, speaking of victims,
that is a brutal setup.
No, I meant it another
brutal
way.
Setup, but let me get to it. It will come as a surprise to basically none of you that there was much in Hillary Clinton's reintroduction speech on Saturday that I liked. There was a lot of proposals I liked, a lot of ideas that I liked, but there was one thing that was sorely, sorely missing. Well, Mrs. Clinton gave us a laundry list of things she would like to do should she become president of the United States. And again, many of them I liked. Many of them would not cost any money. But you know what? Most of them would cost a great deal of money. So I have to ask the question, why did she not put into her speech the recognition that a lot of these proposals would cost us money that maybe we don't have. Now, that's not to say that you go ahead and spend it anyhow. It's not to say, gee, I'd like to do all these things, but I can't because we don't have any money. What it is to say is to ask those people who believe in Hillary Clinton, or who she's trying to get to believe in Hillary Clinton, to help her prioritize, because prioritizing is the only way these things can get done in the real world. Now, here's what would have happened if she had done this. Certainly, the progressives in the nation who just want all these things done, well, they would have been with her anyhow. But think of all the independents, all those Americans, and most Americans who identify themselves as fiscally conservative but socially moderate or liberal. They would have known that it's on her mind, that she's thinking about costs. She should have included that. It was a big mistake not to include it, and I wish she had.
Okay. Is Bernie pushing her to the left? One word answer?
Well, I think Elizabeth Warren pushed her to the left.
Sure.
In truth.
She's not even running. Anyway, yay and nay is next. Stay right there.